Hi everybody, so I'm here today with my 2025 mid-year beauty makeup favourites. I can't believe we're here already. It feels like 2 seconds ago that I was doing my 2024 end of year full face of beauty favourites. But I'm already here at 6 months, well nearly, but as we head towards sort of mid-June, we are getting very close to that exact midpoint anyway. So I'm going to show you, I've tried loads of makeup so far this year, absolutely loads. It's been packed with releases, so it's been quite difficult to pin this down. Some things easier than others, but I am going to show you my top picks, my full face favourites, the ones I think if I had to just pick one and that's it, these are the ones I would go for. So I cannot wait to show you. I also can't wait to do this look. I love videos like this, and obviously I'm using all my favourites, so it's going to be great fun. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm 48. I'm not a professional, but I am somebody who loves makeup and beauty. And here on my channel, I show you the latest releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this content, I would love it ever so much if you hit that subscribe button. Lots of people tune in without subscribing, so if you could, that would be ever so helpful. But if you're already subscribed, welcome back. I am so very grateful to have you here. And my skin tone, if you're interested in how these match up, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that lean a little bit neutral, and I've got blue eyes, and my skin is combination but mostly dry, but I do get an oily T-zone. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's dive straight into this full face of favourites. So I'm not going to go into any product information, it'll turn into a 3-hour marathon, so I'm just going to sort of whiz through and try them on. So my favourite primer, and I'm not a primer person, but this has become my favourite primer, and also a primer that since I got it I haven't stopped using it. If you look at the bottle though, I've been using this so much, and look how much has gone, so this is going to last me ages. But this is the Maybelline Grippy Serum Primer, and it's very rare that I have something that's not luxury on this channel. It's a favourite, so this has been a real find for me. As I move out of winter into these sort of warmer months, I'm finding I always get this problem with makeup not sticking and gripping to these areas around here. This has completely solved that problem. It's also hydrating, and it really does work. I mean, it does have a very sticky finish. At first when you rub it in, it's nice and hydrating. It's got things like niacinamide in it. I said I wouldn't talk about the product, but there we go. I'm at it already. And it feels refreshing and it feels hydrating, but very quickly it feels sticky, which if you left it on its own would feel awful. But don't be put off by that, because obviously you're going to put your makeup on top of it, which is the whole idea. And that sticky feeling you will have no sensation of whatsoever. And I've had lots of products not work on me. I use this and it starts working. I love it. And now onto a concealer, which some of you might be surprised about because I don't think I raved about this being successful for me, but this is the Pinpoint Concealer from Lisa Eldridge, and I'm not actually using this as you use a concealer. I don't tend to do any sort of pinpoint concealing. It's rare that I really want to do that. I get enough coverage from my base products. But what I've used this for every single day since the day I got it, literally every day, is for underneath the brow. So I've done my brows because there are no new favourites with brows. I don't really have a favourite, to be honest. I use all sorts of different brow products. But this one in the lightest shade, shade 1, I use every single day to sharpen up the brow, and it's so easy. This is still the same one, and this launched very early in the year. I haven't had to replace it yet, so even though the quantity you get in this is really tiny, I'm able to give myself quite a generous line underneath here, and I've still got quite a bit left. I haven't had to replace it yet, although I'm getting a little bit nervous about how much is left because I have to have a backup, and I haven't ordered it yet. And I meant to when Lisa Eldridge recently launched her new eyeshadow, the Desert Gleam. I meant to get it then and I forgot. But anyway, I love it. It's got this sharpener in the bottom, which I don't need for this purpose. But I mean, it's almost done the job there without me doing anything. But I always blend a little bit, and it just sharpens up the brow line here so well, and also brightens a bit. So shade 1, the lightest shade. This is the only way I use it, and I will be getting a backup because it's the best product I've ever used to do this with. So much easier than using a standard concealer, and I love it. Now onto foundation, which would be the next thing I put on my face. And I'm not going to do this, but I have to show you because this has been one of my all-time favourite combinations ever. So I didn't show you this because this is something I use as my primer. This is the Ultra Violette SPF 50, the Queen Screen. This one has vitamin C, it has all sorts of skincare. It works as vitamin C, moisturiser, SPF and primer. It does all those jobs in one go, but I only use this when I want a really glowy base. So if I'm using a glowy foundation or a glowy skin tint, I don't use this. And my favourite this year is actually a glowy base, so that's why I didn't use that. But my favourite combination with that is this one from Laura Mercier. This is the Blurred Matte Tinted Moisturiser, and this combination here is my favourite combination ever. Of this year anyway, but probably almost ever, when it comes to mixing something that's glowy with a matte that gives you that sort of perfect finish. You get the blurring from the matte, you get that perfected finish, but it takes down the glow a bit from this, and also you do your skincare all in one hit with this, which is so fabulous. I love that combination, and I have done a video showing you my favourite base if you want to find that, because I did show you that. But I'm going to go for my favourite glowy base, and that is the Guerlain Terracotta Le Teint Glow. Ever since this launch, which was right at the start of the year, we had another wave of different glowy products launching, but this is the one that has stood out to me, and nothing has beaten it yet, nothing. I absolutely adore this one. I do actually have it in 2 shades, and that's because the shade I went for, which normally works on me, was a little bit too dark, so I'll just quickly show you that. This is 1C. So I picked up 0C, and this one is 0C. But I think what I might do today is actually mix the two together. That's something I haven't even tried yet, so we can experiment with that together. But this is just gorgeous. There's never been a time that I've applied this without instantly thinking, oh, this is beautiful, and it looks beautiful all day, and it stays looking good right till the end of the day. I'm going to use a beauty sponge today. Again, that's something I've never done with this one, because I've always used my Rapha brush, because my skin has changed for the time of year. I'm finding that using sponges along with this Grippy primer is my best sort of way forward. I do apologise about all the banging behind me. My son and husband refuse to remember that when I'm filming they should shut the kitchen door before they start clattering about. And as usual, that's my son this time. I can't blame my husband. Anyway, he's off out walking dogs, which he does as his part-time job. So he's getting his drinks ready, I think. So obviously applying this with a sponge has given me a really, really light coverage, but it covers, it corrects, and it gives you an instant glow, and it's just so pretty. It just looks beautiful all day long. I absolutely love it. It is so lightweight though that I do wonder if using a sponge was not really giving me the sort of coverage I like with this. I'd like a bit more, so I am going to go back in with the Rapha, the LC03, to do the other side. But anyway, that's the first side with the sponge. I haven't done the forehead, but this area here. But let's just go on this side with the Rapha brush. Oh yeah, that's giving me the sort of coverage I need. So a sponge is not the right one for this. I did wonder, it's very lightweight. Too lightweight to use a sponge with. The only thing I would say about this, which is a negative, is I don't think the cool is actually that cool. It's a little bit too warm. Even when I'm mixing these two together when one is lighter, it's not as cool as I would like it to be. That's the only slight negative, but I'm prepared to overlook it because I can balance things up with the rest of my makeup, because the finish on it is just so stunning. It's very lightweight, very comfortable, and I don't really care. I'm happy with it because I just love the finish. So there we have my glowy base, totally perfected, all redness corrected, and this glow is just gorgeous. Obviously it needs a bit of powder, but I absolutely love it, and this will stay looking gorgeous all day long. So I also want to give a mention to the Dolce & Gabbana Cushion Foundation, which I've probably used as much, easily actually as much. And this is the Rose Glow Cushion. I've got this in the shade 01C. It doesn't have an awful lot of shades, this one, but this is absolutely stunning. So I would say it's almost joint with the Guerlain. That's how much I've loved it actually. It is gorgeous. It's also a better shade match for me. So if you're looking for something glowy and perfecting and you're my skin twin, you might prefer the Dolce Gabbana because of the shade match. But the Galan Terracotta does take some beating. Even though now when I'm seeing this with no tan on, seeing myself in the monitor, I do look quite yellow, don't I? So there is still that shade issue, but anyway, what can you do? This is also my favourite fashion find of the year. This is a top from Varley. I've never bought anything from Varley until the start of this year, so I just thought I'd mention it, and that's why I'm wearing it since the favourites video. I've got this one in a baby blue and I've got it in this soft pink as well. I'm absolutely in love with their knits. So we're in June, this is a short sleeve knit, and obviously there's lots of holes so they're not too hot or heavy. This one is quite a thick material. They do lighter ones for the summer, and they also do this, I don't know if it's called super soft range, and I've bought trousers and a jumper in that range. Oh my goodness, they are so good. So I just wanted to mention that's my fashion find of the year, is the brand Varley. So I've linked this top below if you want to look on their website to see what they've got. But it's not a cheap find. They are quite pricey, but I've had so much wear out of this and it just looks as good as it did the day it arrived. The quality is phenomenal. And you can always catch things in the sale as well and get them reduced. So I think Black Friday could be a good time for me to stock up on some more Varley tops. But I love them. I just need to stop seeing their adverts, because every time I see an advert I want to buy everything they offer. I really do. So now for my favourite contour of the year. This is from Rare Beauty. This is absolutely beautiful. I used this non-stop when I first got it. The only reason I'd say I'm not using it non-stop at the moment is because there's been some other things I've been testing out. And another reason is because my favourite cream bronzer, which I'm going to show you next, is from Chanel, and I've been using that as my contour and bronze all in one. So I've actually been skipping contour most days since that launched, but it doesn't look as good as this as a contour. It's just, I love the fact that I can just do such a quick and easy look with the Chanel, not have to get out another product. Using the Mario F4 brush, which I probably should say is my favourite brush ever, but it's not a new brush for this year, so. But I do have some favourite brushes which we'll get on to. So I've got this in the shade Gentle, and it's my absolute perfect contour shade. This contour blends out so quickly and easily, it's effortless, and it just looks perfect. It really is a really good, really good. I mean, you can see there, it's just a perfect contour shade for me. I love it. So the cream bronzer, as I said, is the Chanel Le Beige, and they launched this in new shades, and we got to have a deeper tone at the high end and a lighter tone at the low end, and that was the really good news for me, because I've never been able to wear this because it's always been too dark. You can see I'm already made quite a dent in this, and that's because I am using it constantly. I absolutely love it. This one works, I'm using the same Mario 4 brush. This one works on top of creams and on top of powders, and this shade works as a contour for me as well. So I've been using it as both of those. So I'm just tapping it to slightly bronze up a little bit more of the face. Not a lot, because I've got enough really from that contour. Like I said, I wouldn't tend to use both. It'd be one or the other these days, even though I usually do use a bronzer and a contour. Like I said, this one, it's just not necessary, and it just looks beautiful, and it will sit absolutely perfectly on top of powder. I love it, love it, love it. I love the way it looks. I love how quick and easy it is to apply. You can see how just it blended out in seconds there. It's a gorgeous formula, and I just can't put it down. It is not, I haven't even put it into the pot to the right of me where I keep things. I just literally keep it on my desk right next to me. So now for concealer, and this one has come as quite a surprise to me, and that is this concealer stick from Tarte. This is the Shape Tape Blur Concealer Stick. I've got this in the shade 12B Fair Beige, which is for fair skin with cool pink undertones. And despite the rather strange shape to this, I've got really used to it. It's probably the only concealer I've ever had where I can be quite liberal like that on my mature skin, and I can take it right up to the very corners without a problem. It also works brilliantly all over the face for me, so a little bit down there to start to really emphasize the contour lines I've put in and to brighten the areas I want to be brightened. And I'm being a bit generous today because I've got such a deep toned foundation. I want to bring a bit of light to my face. So I'll just leave it under the eyes just to warm up a little, but that's actually not that necessary with this one. It just, you can pretty much apply it instantly. And you can see how quickly, just tap, 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 and that's gone in. It's just so quick. It's very lightweight. It doesn't give a lot of coverage. I'd say it's more sort of medium coverage. But just look how quickly this just blends out here, and immediately it's really sort of snatched the contour line there. And look how quick. It's just so good. It's just like having really beautiful skincare. And then for under the eyes, as soon as I pat this in, it just goes straight in. It is such a quick and easy concealer for me, and it's advertised as being for mature skin, and I couldn't agree with that more, because I would say nearly every concealer, even my favourite concealer, I can't place directly there. I need to start it here and then slowly add a tiny bit there. But this one, I can be liberal everywhere, all of my problem areas, and it just goes on like I've just applied a really nice evening eye cream or morning eye cream, whichever. But that's how good it is. I love it. And look how much it's brightening as well. It's a perfect shade. It's easy to apply. There's just not even the slightest hint of creasing or caking, not even a hint of it. And it sits and lasts all day. I absolutely love it. And since I got it, apart from reviewing one other concealer, which I did and used for several days so I can give it a good review, I haven't put it down. This is the only concealer I've been reaching for. I've got a lot of concealers in my sort of collection that I love, and I do try to go back and remember them. Like I recently dug out the House Labs and the Beautiful Skin one from Charlotte Tilbury, which I know I love. And I've put them on my desk to remind me to go back and use them, because they need using up and I really like them. But this is the one I just want to reach for the most. I absolutely adore it. It's perfect, perfect, and it's mature skin dream, it really is. I would buy a backup of this in a heartbeat. I will get a backup, I think. As soon as I start seeing it go down a bit, I will be getting a backup. So now let's talk about setting powder. So I've had quite the journey over the last year with setting powders. On the hunt for my Givenchy Prisme Libre replacement when they turned it glowy. And my replacement has been found finally, and that is the YSL All Hours loose setting powder, the Hyper Blur. And I've got this in the transparent, the white. I've got it in the blue and I've got it in the pink. And the blue and the pink are my two favourites, and I sort of alternate. I have actually been going for the pink more over the summer with the sort of shades I've been wearing, but I'm going to go for the blue today because I want to sort of bring down the warmth from the foundation. But I just quickly want to mention as well the DANESSA MYRICKS powder, which isn't actually a new launch this year, but this is something I've only recently tried. This is the Evolution powder in pink, and this I've probably, since I've got this, I've used it equally with this. I actually like it as much. In fact, because it's got talc in it, I'm guessing it, I don't know, but I'm guessing it'll be taken off the market soon. So I've actually gone and bought a few backups of this because that's how much I like it. And the YSL, if I tell you I've already got a backup of the blue, that's how much I like that too. So these are the only sort of powders I've been using. I sort of alternate between the two. I've got the pressed powder from Givenchy, which is excellent, but I do get a better finish with the loose powder, so I tend to go for the loose powder most days. But when I want a quick finish, I'll go in with the pressed powder from Givenchy, the new one, because that's also excellent. So I'm going to set under the eyes now with this blue powder. One thing I would say about the concealer, by the way, from Tarte, is that it's not great if you've got greasy eyelids, so just keep that in mind. You might not want to use it as your eyelid sort of primer, as I usually do for most days. So this YSL powder, I wouldn't say it's quite got the staying power of the original Givenchy Prisme Libre, as in your oils will come through and you will need to do a little top up later in the day. Well, you might anyway, it depends on your skin on the day, obviously, your skin type, and on the weather in my case. When I was using this in the cooler months, I was finding I didn't really need to go in and top up, but I have been finding now as we're warming up that I do need to go in and top up just a little bit after about maybe 6 hours. So this gives a lovely soft blurred finish, and can you see as well by using the blue how much that's just cooled down my face. I do like a fully powdered base, I don't like to feel any stickiness. And that lovely terracotta from Galan, Terracotta Glow, will glow through, so it won't look like I'm wearing sort of flat matte. I didn't tap enough powder off there, so it's going all over the place. So now the colour of the terracotta foundation is fine for me. It's absolutely fine because of using that blue powder, so it's a really magic powder from that respect. And that's another reason why I can forgive Galan for being a little bit too warm. I absolutely adore this entire base now. It is just my favourite base I've tried this year by a mile. Apart from saying what I showed you with the Laura Mercier and that Ultraviolet, which work together, or Violette. I keep saying Violette. Violette is Violette FR makeup, isn't it? And the SPF is Ultraviolet. Violet, is it? If you know, tell me, because I hate getting these things wrong. But I always do, I'm afraid. So now to powder bronzer, but I actually want to talk about the bronzer and blush sort of trio that has together become my favourite. So I'll introduce all three before applying them. But first I want to show you a bronzer which is a joint favourite with what I'm showing you today, which I won't apply today, and this one is the Laura Mercier. So this one is the, what's it say, number 10, and it's called the Colour Infusion Bronze. And the reason I'm not going to try this today is I prefer this one when I'm not really going for a blush or a highlight. So obviously I'm going to show you my favourite highlights and blushes and everything today, so that's why I'm not using this. But this is absolutely amazing. If you've seen my review of this, I adore this. I think it's one of the products of the year quite easily for me. So this is my bronzer on its own, which works almost as a contour shade. It is a little bit warm, but I can get away with it as contour and bronzer. Use the two together for a sort of rich, glowy, warm bronze if I want to, maybe on the cheeks. But what I prefer to do is not actually mix them together. So use the bronze and then use this as a glowy blush and highlight. And also use this as my eyeshadow. So this is my contour, my bronzer, my blush, my highlight, my eyeshadow. And I love, love, love the finish of it. It is so natural, so summery, gives you that real sort of tanned look. But for my skin tone, it just works and I adore it. So one of my favourite product releases. This one's staying on my desk and I'm dipping into it all the time, especially for those quick, easy looks. Like yesterday, I wasn't filming and I did a really quick look with a skin tint, just what I described to you now using that. And then I just used an eyeshadow pen. And this one's the one from Too Faced, which I love as well, the quickie Too Faced pens, and a bit of mascara, and I was done for the day. It's so quick and easy to do things like that with it. I love it. And the blush that I won't be trying on today, but is definitely one of my favourites, is the Fenty Suede blush, which finally came to the UK. I bought so many shades, and this one is one of the new ones. I'm just showing you one because I want to show you how gorgeous they are. This is the softest blush you will ever touch, ever, ever, ever. It is absolutely, oh, just look at the beauty that is this. This one is just a crush. So this is one of the new shades they did launch this year. So it is a new product, but this whole blush range was new to me because of the late launch in the UK. And these are absolutely sensational. If we didn't have so many blushes launched this year, and I've been testing out so many, I would have been wearing these all the time. I absolutely love it. And also this looks gorgeous on the eyes. In fact, most of these look gorgeous on the eyes. They work as a glowy blush, so you don't need a highlighter. Stunning. In fact, this would look really nice with that Laura Mercier if you wanted to amp up the colour on the cheeks. Yeah, it would go with loads of things, to be fair, but love, love, love. In fact, Fenty is one of my favourite brands this year. Even though you're not going to see an awful lot of Fenty products here, ironically, but they are quite genuinely one of my favourite brands. Anyway, let's talk about the trio, which I think is the winning trio for me, with powder bronzer, and it's a matte bronzer, and this is the blurring matte that's just launched from Makeup by Mario. I believe this is actually a relaunch without the talc, so I didn't have the original, so I can't tell you which one's better, but I can tell you this has become my favourite powder matte in my collection at the moment. I love this shade on me. This is shade Light. I love how blurring it is. I love how effortless it is to wear. It's so complimentary. It's beautiful. And then the most blurring blush I've tried this year, easily powder blush, is this one from Dior. So Dior have just launched, or relaunched these blushes. This was their third reformulation of the Rosy Glow Dior Backstage blush, and I love so many of the colours, but pink is the one I've had the most compliments with when I wear it, and it's the one that I probably use the most. It just goes with so many things for me. And the combination is to wear the powder first and then go in with the glow stick, the Rosy Glow Stick in pink. I just want to very quickly show you Toffee, which is my other favourite shade, which launched, which is absolutely stunning. And again, I would wear Toffee with the stick. So here is the Toffee stick. I think these are amazing. Now these are quite recent, but these have gone straight to my number one, absolutely straight there. So this is Toffee stick and Toffee blush. But again, this first, then this to top, and it's just the best combination because you get that almost quite flat matte because I've added my setting powder, then I'm going in with the bronzer and the blush powder, and then I'm going in with that to add a bit of glow. And also that means you don't really need any sort of highlighter. But I did mention I have favourite brushes, which I'll be starting to use now, so I thought I'd just show you them. And that is the new launch from Victoria Beckham. If you watch my videos, you've probably noticed I'm always pulling out a Victoria Beckham brush. I started off with, I think, 3. I went back and got more, and then I went back and got more again. They are probably the most beautiful brushes I've ever seen. I think they are stunning. Some of them are dual-ended. They've got this gorgeous walnut wood in the centre. These are synthetic, but they work like natural for me. In fact, I recently did a review of the Lisa Eldridge, it was, the Desert Gleam, and I used these brushes, and it didn't show up very much for me, Desert Gleam, but that was because of my skin tone, and a few people commented it was because I wasn't using natural brushes. So in my shorts reel, if you watch my shorts reel of me trying on the same eyeshadow palette, I actually used the Sonia G brushes, and I didn't find any difference in the way it applied, the way it picked up product. So for me, these perform like natural brushes, and I just love all the different shapes and sizes. I just keep using them all the time. My latest one, which I'm only just starting to try, is this one, which is a more firm buffing brush. So I do need to test that one out a little bit more. But the ones I've used the most are this dual-ended one, which is great for things like that Laura Mercier duo because it's the right sort of size to get in, but you can use this one for creams as well. And then this one I use, which I'll use now for blush and bronzers, and you can also use it for setting powder or blending and finishing powders. This one I've literally, I think, used it every day since I got it. This is an eyeshadow blender brush, which is brilliant. Another dual-ended eye brush, and I use this one a lot if you want to use the flat end for applying shimmers, but also I like to use the tip of this for applying shadows under the eye. I use this end as well to sort of blend out the line when I sort of line an eyeshadow. That's how I use that one. And then there's this one, which is more new. So I haven't really used this end much, but if I want to use this, this is great obviously for that winged liner. And then this end, this really tiny little end, I've been using this for things like little corrections, if you want to just dip into a cream and use it for a correction, or if you want to add a bit of glitter glue to a very small area. It's got that precision. So I don't know if this is a lip or an eye brush, I can't remember, but that's how I'm using it. And then we've got this one, which has the much wider, I think this one is the lip brush. But again, I haven't used it for my lip. I've used this as my eyeliner. I love this for lining my eyes with eyeshadow. This tip is absolutely perfect, but I've got a feeling this is meant for lips. So you line the lips and then you fill. I think that's what it's meant for, but I'm using this for my eyes. And I probably could use this for applying shimmers, especially if you're applying it with a wet brush. I think it's really good for that. And the fan brush, I've used this for highlighters every single day, I think, since I got it. So this collection of brushes, absolutely stunning. Very, very pricey. Big investment getting them, considering they're not natural. Not as expensive as the natural brands, to be fair. And I wouldn't say they've made me stop using Sonia G or Refa, which I still think are absolutely amazing. But I'm just enjoying them so much, I don't want to reach for anything else at the moment. So I still have my Refa. I do dip into Refa quite often, to be fair. I've got them all sitting here directly in front of me. And I've got my Sonia G box, my beautiful wooden box, right in front of me as well, and that's got all my Sonia G brushes, and I've got quite a few Wayne Goss, but the standout for me this year has been that brush launch from Victoria Beckham. So now I'm going to go into this big fluffy brush and apply the Makeup by Mario blurring bronzer, which applies just beautifully. and it is blurring. I mean, how many times do we hear a product that says it's blurring and it just isn't? But this really is. It's so complimentary. I'm giving quite a light dusting today because obviously I've already gone in with contour and cream bronzer underneath my powder. So I really don't need an awful lot of this. But it really is a very, very, very beautiful bronzer. And every time I've worn it, I've been so happy with it. And I've pretty much worn it non-stop since getting it. I absolutely adore it. So that's going back in my pot there to be used again tomorrow morning. And now I'm going to add this beautiful blush. Now, if I'm going to go for my favourite blush brush, I'm going to be honest and say I'm not using the Victoria Beckham for that. It has to be my Rephr. Nothing has quite taken over from that, and nothing ever will, I don't think. This is the Holiday brush from Rephr. And the pink is a lot more pigmented than previous pinks from this range, but I can still be quite generous because it is, this and the lilac are the two lightest. This is actually the lightest in the blush collection from Dior. So I can be quite generous and don't have to be too careful. This gives a nice glow and a blur. But it can be built up so you can see the pop of pink, which is something that was quite hard to achieve with the original formula. This new formula is definitely bringing more pigment. You're not going to see an awful lot of pigment from this. If you want to see my review of these blushes where you can really see the pigment, it's worth checking that one out because it is definitely more pigmented. Just please keep in mind I'm going for the absolute lightest from the collection, but it is the one I think that works the best for me, and I've had the most compliments whenever people say what makeup are you wearing today, or even my husband says, oh, you look particularly nice today. It's one I'm using this. I also think this is quite a natural colour on me, and I don't think the pH nature of these products particularly does anything. I think it's pretty much as it is. I've never really noticed a big change in the way once it hits my skin. So that's the only thing. If you're excited about that, then you might be disappointed because I don't think it changes much, to be honest. But I'm not complaining in the slightest because it just works so beautifully, and I can be quite liberal and I don't have to worry about over applying. It gives a lovely soft glowy blurred finish, and I just think it is so natural and beautiful. I absolutely adore it. Now for the finish, which gives me that pop of pink, and you'll see a lot more pigment now, and that's when I go in with the glow stick in pink. So this one has a lot more pigment. And for this I'll be using the Mario F4. Like I said, I don't use the Victoria Beckham for everything. Some brushes I can't put down. Look at the pop you get when you add it on top of powder. I've tried this underneath the powder, and I've tried it on top, and I've tried it on its own, and the winning combination for me is the two together when this is applied on top. And also because it's landing on the powder there, I find it lasts longer for a cream, because a lot of these cream products do tend to disappear. Just look at that, isn't it absolutely beautiful? I love it so much. You can even try a pop of these on the lips, which is not advertised to do, but I've tried it and it works really nicely. This is my favourite launch from Dior this year. I think it is amazing. Again, I don't see any difference in the shade with the pH reactive sort of promise, which again I don't want. I want the colour I see, and that's the colour I get. So this brings the shine and the glow, enough for me to think I absolutely do not need any sort of highlighter, so it rules out that product. And it gives such a sort of natural glow as well, and it's just so pretty. I absolutely adore this. Now I wouldn't say I necessarily need to do this so much with these blushes, but I will today because this has been one of the best products of the year for me, and that is from Charlotte Tilbury again, and this is the Soulmates release. Firstly, I'm one of the people who love these heart cases. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I love them. I love the stone in the middle. I love the colour. I love everything about it. I'm not somebody who's anti it. I think I'll try the buffer brush that I haven't tested yet. I usually use the Sonia G Buffer Pro, but the reason I'm showing you this is I've dipped into this so many times. If you've already seen my videos, I dip into it all the time for this. I like the blush. The blush is good, but this is outstanding, and I'm hoping we get this in compacts on its own. But when you tap this just around the edge of your blush to soften it, which I don't really need to do, But just look at the way that perfects the finish. Even with this already sort of perfect blush from Dior. Isn't that just beautiful? The way it gives that soft blur. And when I've got a blush that's gone a bit wrong or it's too pigmented, I use this all over as well to bring it down. I've used it non-stop, and this is another one that's sat on my desk and I pull it out all the time. I think it is wonderful. And that brush worked absolutely fine for doing that. So there we go. It's another brush. They're soft as well, these brushes. And they're just so beautiful. So with highlighter, I don't need a highlighter because I've got that nice glow, but I will wear some because I want to show you my favourite. But I'm going to show you my favourite highlighters of the year. I'm not actually wearing today and I'm not going to put into this look, but they're still my favourites for a number of reasons. And that is the NYX highlighter. The full name of these, the Buttermelt highlighter. I bought these specifically for the eyes. You've probably seen me talk about these so many times, so I won't go on about it too much. But if you look at my shorts reels of these, and I've included them in a few of my sort of full reviews. This was the first one I bought, this one and the Mint. I bought these two because I wanted to use them on my eyes, but they actually worked surprisingly. I say that because I really didn't think the shades like the green would work. But I thought they actually worked as highlighters too. But on the eyes with a bit of bronzer and these all over the lid, look at these. Just look how incredible they are. And this is probably one of my most complimented looks of the year, is when I use just one of these two shades with an eyeliner. That is until I got another shade, because I love these two so much. I've gone back and bought a few more. And the other one I've had the most compliments for is the Butter in Black, the darkest in the range, and it's almost off-putting how dark it is. You think, oh, that's not going to work for me. Look at this shift. On the eyes, this is an absolute knockout formula. And it even worked on the cheeks. I don't know how it works, I can't explain it, but a light dusting of this actually worked as a highlighter as well. I don't really know how on my fair skin, but it does. I also got it in the pink and I also got it in the gold. And I love every single one of them, but the three I've just shown you are my favourites. I'd say next would come the pink and then the gold, but they are phenomenal and the best highlighter purchase for all of those reasons that I've bought this year. But if we're going to talk about highlighter as a standalone product to use as a highlighter, for me, Dior has been an easy winner. So Dior is doing quite well in this review for me so far. So these are my two favourites. This one launched first, Lilac Mania. And I think this one is absolutely stunning. I love this in the liquid form as well. The glow highlighter. What's the name of those? It's sitting here because I use it all the time. The Forever Glow Maximizer. This one gives more of a glow, more of a sparkle. So if you like a more subtle highlighter, go for the powder. I like them both, but I think my preference, if I had to pick one at the moment, is the powder. But I almost changed my mind on it. So there it is. This is in Lilac Mania. It's so stunning, isn't it? And then the other one, which is more recent, is the Pink Halo Glow Luminizer. And again, these two haven't left my desk. I love them. So here it is. I'm wondering whether to try the lilac. I was thinking, should I stick with pink? Because my favourites today have been pinks. But I think I might actually go with the lilac. Let's see how it looks with the pink. Now, I wouldn't wear a highlighter, as I've said, over this particular combination on my cheeks. Never have actually, so I don't know if I'm going to like it that much because I like the glow I'm getting already. No, I still like it. I can see my texture showing up a bit now because I already had that glowy base. So I wouldn't recommend doing this with the combination I've shown you on my cheeks. I would recommend if you did something like the Dior Backstage powder blush and you don't use the stick, then this obviously, but I wouldn't use both. Oh, but that is something special, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. And lilacs have just been so special for me this year. We've had so many gorgeous lilacs and lavender launches. I adore them. In fact, I did a full video of a full face of lilacs. If you want to see that and you missed it, that's on my channel. Right, so now for the hardest decision ever. Eyeshadows. This has to be the best year ever for eyeshadows. Last year was rubbish because eyeshadows were going out of fashion, nobody was launching any. This year already we've had some incredible eyeshadows. So I'm going to show you the ones I struggled not to put on. And this one is from Viseart, relatively recently relaunched. This is the Lilas Lumiere Étendue Vise Pro, or Visi Pro. This colour story is absolutely beautiful. I can't ever stop singing the praises of Viseart. I love their mattes, I love their shimmers, their metallics, I love the colour stories, I absolutely adore it. Like I said, I'm not going to rave and go on and on and on now, but safe to say, really struggle not to wear that one today. And another one which I really struggled not to wear today, this was very close to being the one, is this new launch from YSL. I love this, and again I've had a lot of compliments when I wear this shade 825. I can't remember the name of it now. Have I written it down? No, I haven't written it down. I do apologise, I can't remember it, but anyway, I should do, shouldn't I? I've only recently reviewed it, but this one, especially this shade here, this one all over the lid, is something special. Look at that. I adore this. It is summer perfection. I love the case, love everything about that. So that was really close to being the one I put on today. And I recently got my hands on the Givenchy 915, which was a spring launch, which took forever to get to the UK. Every single look I've created with this I absolutely love, and what I love most about this is the amount of different looks. You can have peachy looks, pink looks, neutral looks, and most of the shimmers work as almost one and done, certainly across the lid. If you just use one of the deeper shades for the crease and liner shade, and this one for inner corner and under the brow, but it covers everything, and I got some gorgeous looks from it. So again, very tempted to try that one today, but I didn't. And then Dior launched these, which I think are the best eyeshadows I've tried from Dior. I think they are sensational. All four of them I thought were sensational. These are the Dior Show 5 Couleur, and these are limited edition, so I'm not sure how many of these are still around even. This one is Silk Taupe, but my favourite of all of them is the Brown Cashmere, which is this one. These are the sort of cream to powder formula that gives all the pigment that Dior often lacks. These are absolutely sensational, and they are such good colour stories that will work with every look and probably suit just about everyone. So that's why these two in particular are my two favourites, and I would happily reach for those again and again. I love the coral one as well. I loved all four, but those are my top two from that, and I keep these two on my desk actually. They don't leave my desk because I just want to reach for them all the time. And another eyeshadow which was super close to being used today was the Lisa Eldridge Batty. This one is gorgeous, and it fulfilled my lilac dreams because I adore lilacs. Here's two, ignore my middle finger there, I've still got the YSL. These are the two lilac shades. Absolutely beautiful. This one is so, it was such a joy to try this for the first time. I remember my reaction when I tried it. It was just, this is absolutely beautiful. And I could happily use that one all the time. I just think it is stunning. Even this shade here, which I thought, how is this going to work with the lilacs? This sort of brown, bronzy shade, but it worked and I loved it. Now for my biggest palette of the year, quite easily for me actually, and that is the Lancome Idole Cafe Crush. And this is not going to be the one on my eyes again. I love the case of this one. The reason it's not going on my eyes is purely the colour story here. I think if we're talking my favourite palette, this is joint with the one I'm going to show you next. But this one I think is definitely more of a sort of autumn winter colour story. I just noticed my camera was blurred, so if in the last few images it's been blurred, I do apologise. I've only just noticed it and corrected it there. But this colour story for me is very much autumn winter. I'm not, even though you can sort of use these pinks here, I have tried these to use as a sort of summer spring look, and they do work. And in fact this could arguably be an all year round, but it doesn't scream spring and summer quite as much as the one I want to show you, and as something like the Betty and the YSL. But the formulas in this, I think they are stunning. I love them. They are so easy to work with. They are buttery, but they bring the impact. Look at these, they are so gorgeous. And the mattes are super easy to work with. Look at these, they are so beautiful. And I think the packaging is beautiful, the embossing, which still hasn't completely disappeared. And you've got liner shades, inner corner shades, you've got everything you could want here. I love the packaging, I love the names of the shades, I love the colours. This could be my go-to for the whole of autumn and winter if I wasn't doing reviews and I wasn't buying other makeup. This is stunning, absolutely stunning. And it's still, for me, it's the best big eyeshadow release of the year, and it's joint with my favourites. But like I said, when I chose my favourites, the YSL and the Betty and those ones from Dior were just so close because they are so good. But I had to think, which is the one I've reached for the most? Which is the one I think that put the biggest smile on my face and made me the happiest? And it was this one from Chanel. The Chanel Camellia Utopia. Now, it's quite rare that a Chanel quad reaches #1 in anything for me, apart from last year. I don't know if I said it was my favourite at this point of the year, but I know for sure it was up there if I didn't say that. And that was last year. They released this one, which is Rivage, which I still keep on my desk because it's so gorgeous and so beautiful for this time of year, and that blue pop. But Camellia, firstly, super close to my heart. If any of you saw my review of this, I have a memorial plant in my garden with a camellia in this pink shade, funnily enough, and it's for my mum. Some of my mum's ashes are actually there sitting directly in front of my kitchen sink, so I can sort of feel like my mum is there with me every day. So this is such a beautiful, beautiful sort of way of remembering my mum whilst using it. But it's also the most gorgeous colour story, super easy to apply, and I always feel special when I wear this one. So that's why I thought I've got to reach for this one. This is the one I took away with me the most when I've had short trips. I would say it is more of a spring palette, but it also could work as summer. So let's just get this one on. Again, using my Victoria Beckham blender brush. So taking that darker brown. And they are quite subtle, but you do see them. It's Chanel. Chanel quads are always subtle. But they're so easy, so user-friendly, and I love every shade in this. Do you know what? I've just realised I didn't mention my other favourite, which nearly made it to the #1 spot. Honestly, it's been a lot of... I couldn't rank these. I just couldn't. They're almost joint #1. But the one I forgot to mention is the DANESSA MYRICKS, which is sitting on my desk. The Freedom palette. Just sensational. Sensational. And these are the 3 shimmery shades from that. And DANESSA brought us 3 mattes, which we can use with these 3 shades. But they also, all 3 of them, work with the 3 palettes that launched with Lightwork 6 last year, which was also a favourite, or my top palette of the year last year. So this sort of is almost joint again with this. Like I can't pick a favourite easily. I'm just picking the eyeshadow that I think made me smile the most. I'm running this underneath as well, using the Victoria Beckham number 21. Then going in with the pink, starting to take that across the whole of the mobile lid, and also slightly above the hooded lid. And then I'm going to go in with this shade here and just take this across the top of the whole look. Look how special that is. Did I say I was taking it across the whole look then? If I did, I meant across the whole of my mobile lid. And then taking the sort of pearly white shimmer into my inner corners and underneath the brow. Now I don't necessarily think you need to line at this point, but I will add a liner, and this isn't a new liner, but it's new to me. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Duo, and I have not stopped using this one since getting it. Again, this hasn't left my desk. This is the brown Duo liner. I don't use the brightening shade in the waterline too much because I do tend to use my Delilah one. It does work well for it, but I prefer my Delilah if I've got it here with me. But this brown liner is just so creamy and easy to apply, and it works with so much that I've been using this year. I do prefer a brown with lots of looks, and with a sort of soft, subtle look like this, I think it works so perfectly. And now onto mascara. and it's quite an easy winner for me. There's been actually my most successful year so far for mascaras. The most amount of mascaras for me that haven't smudged, and that I'm quite picky. I don't like clumpy, I don't like heavy, I don't like to layer more than once. I prefer just one thin layer of mascara. I'm not someone who likes much on my lashes at all. And I like when it's, I do have problems with smudging with loads of mascaras, but the Lisa Eldridge mascara never smudges on me. I have this in black, the Kitten one, but the new one that launched this year was the Burnt Umber, which launched with the Betty eyeshadow. And I've tested this out in direct rain all day when I was on holiday, and it still did not smudge. I love the way that this one gives me separation and lift without being heavy. It's a lovely, lovely shade. I think it's the nicest shade of brown mascara I've ever had, and I do tend to prefer browns these days. And it's bulletproof. You can cry, you can stand in the rain, you can sweat, it's bulletproof. But there is one that I've recently tried which isn't as new as this, which I think is almost a copy for it. So I thought I'll mention that, and that is the Lancome Idole in brown. So it's not quite, the shade isn't quite as perfect, but the way that the way it sits, the way it works, the way it lasts, and the way it deals with water, I think is the same. So they've been my top 2 finds this year. I do think it's worth mentioning as well the MAC Elevated Mascara. This one never smudges on me and does a pretty similar job. Really impressed with this one. Really, really love that one actually. I quite like the Prada as well. It's not my favourite out of these, but this one doesn't smudge on me, and it works in a very similar way from a separating, lengthening, not clumpy point of view. And now, having used it a few times, I am able to just go in with one layer of this one. So they would be my top picks for mascara for this year so far, and it has, like I said, been my absolute best year for mascara. But this one is my #1 spot. So now lastly onto lips, and my 2 favourite brands in order would be #1 Fenty. If you know me, you know I'm completely and utterly obsessed with Fenty. They can launch anything for lips and I'm there and I'm buying it. So Fenty's my #1, and they will feature in a minute. But I wanted to show you this from Westman Atelier. This was actually the Petal collection. So I love the Petal blush, which I already had, and then they launched 3 new products. So I'll show you all 3 of them. I'm not going to try these on because they haven't taken my #1 spot quite, but I do want to show you this because I think that this release was one of my favourite releases so far of the year. I adore it. So this collection, you could actually get the Petal lips blush with it, but I already had this from the Christmas release, I think. I can't remember, but I've got it in the mini. So there is the Petal blush. And what launched was the Petal lipstick in the suede format, the matte suede, which I absolutely love. It's my favourite matte lipstick formula. I love it, and here it is. They've actually just launched the lip liner in Petal as well, so I've been able to complete my Petal collection. Here is the liner in Petal. This didn't launch with the Petal collection, but I will show you it because you can see how it works with it. So that's much, much deeper. Then we had the lip gloss in Petal here. So there's the lip gloss, and then we had the highlighter in Petal. This is so pretty, this one. So there is Petal highlighter. The whole Petal collection is just absolutely stunning. I love it so much. So I just had to show you that full collection really, even though we're on lips, but I had to show you all together because I bought them together, but they are just amazing. In fact, I'm going to leave them out on my desk rather than put any of them away because I just want to reuse all of them in one look again because they're so good. I think I've done a shorts reel just using all the petals, but you'd have to go back a bit of a way to find that one. So now for the #1 lip product, which actually isn't Fenty, but I've got to give this #1 spot because of how much I've used it. It's my most complimented lip look on all my shorts reel. It's the one people most ask me about. It's been my most reached for, most used lip product by a mile this year and possibly ever. And that is this one from Charlotte Tilbury. When I first reviewed it, I didn't think this was the best product because I thought it was a bit dry and I thought it takes a bit too long and I wasn't sure about the fill, but then I just started reaching for it more and more and more. So this one's in the lightest shade Fair, and I need to sharpen it. Look how much I've used already. So this is the Sculpt end. So that's just the liner, and now going in with the fill shade. And the fill shade is slightly creamier, I think, because it's not difficult to apply. It does feel a bit dry, and I always need to go in with a lip balm or a lip gloss, but it doesn't take too long. But what's wonderful about it is how long lasting this is, and that's one of the reasons I've reached for it a lot, is it'll last me through filming. If sometimes I do back-to-back 5 or 6 shoots in one shoot, and this will still be here by the end of the shoot. If I go out for the day, it'll last me up to 6 hours sometimes. It's got great longevity. It's not quite as long lasting as the original lip cheat as a whole, but as a lip product in itself, using these two together, it's one of the best long lasting lip looks. So there it is in Fair. I have picked it up in the next shade up, which I do like, but it doesn't work for me quite as well. So this one's the medium, I think it must be called. Yeah, the medium, which is more of a sort of neutral browny shade. The liner in particular is really good on that, but it's the Fair. This is the one that people have asked me the most about. What's on your lips? What's on your lips? And usually I've got some sort of gloss. It might be a clear gloss, a pink gloss, but, well, not usually, I've always got some sort of gloss because I always reach for a gloss. So I think of this as my sort of base, and then I can go in with my gloss of choice, whether it's coloured or not. And Charlotte Tilbury did launch this, which looks perfect with it, the Pillow Talk Lip Plump Glasm, and this is in the diamond. This looks gorgeous on it. It just gives a shiny, sort of slightly goldy diamond finish. And that is gorgeous, it really is. But I wouldn't say, I can't finish this video without doing Fenty. I can't do it. So they are my number one, and this is also one of my most used lip products. And when I go on holiday soon, I know I'll be taking a number of these with me because I just can't go anywhere without these. This is my favourite one. This is from the new launched Shimmering collection, the Gloss Bomb Sticks, the High Shine. I've got all of the shades in the original formula, and then I bought all of the shades in the Shimmering formula, and this is my favourite out of all of them, Icy Amethyst. And if you're not familiar with this, it's like a lipstick, a lip balm, a gloss, all in one. I adore them. But they do need to be topped up quite a lot, so I think they work quite well as a sort of topper on something like this. And you could also use another launch I've really loved. This is the Fenty Beauty oils, lip oils. These launched after that. Again, I bought all of the shades in this because I love them so much. And this one is the Miss Jellyfish. I've got all of them, but I'm just showing you these because they're my favourites, the lilacs. There's Miss Jellyfish. And this would look really pretty on top. But I think what I'm going to go for today is from the Shimmering Gloss Bomb Sticks in Fussy. So I love this in the original Fussy, but the Shimmering launch was my favourite. Out of all the Fenty releases they've ever launched, the Gloss Bomb Sticks in Shimmering are my absolute favourite. And they smell fruity and delightful as well. I knew this was going to work nicely with the Fair base. So I've got the shimmer, I've got the hydration I needed because I do need hydration after using that lip duo. And they work together brilliantly actually, but then I could have gone for contrast using the lilac, that would have worked as well. And I could have gone for any of the oils, but I just had to finish with Fenty. They've made me smile the most this year, Fenty, they really have. Their blushes and their lip products, they're just so good. I also have to give a mention to the Guerlain, the Kiss Kiss Be Glow sticks. I bought, how many did I've got them here. I bought 4 shades in this. These are as well one of my favourite products of the year. These are again hydrating, but they bring a lot of them bring sparkle, and oh, this is so good. Just look how pretty that is. They bring plenty of pigment as well. You can see a bit of the Fenty sparkle still underneath there, but it brings such a shine. These are just gorgeous. The packaging, the formula. I do think these are the best balmy products on the market. I adore them. And last year, my favourite oil of the year was the Guerlain Kiss Kiss ones as well. So I think, is it Kiss Kiss? I always forget the Kiss Kiss Be Glows, but these I think they still are my favourite in formula from oils. I love the Fenty obviously with the shimmer and everything, but these have the nicest doe foot and the formula is a knockout. So I think they're still my number one. But obviously these aren't new, that's from last year, and they've been on my desk ever since. So there we go, that is my full face of my favourite makeup from this year, and you can see that it's been, I feel like it's an end of year review because it's been packed full and it's been so difficult to choose because there's been so many winners. But this is my full face of favourites. So what do you think? Have I used any of your favourites? And if I've missed your favourites, which ones would you have included? I'd like to finish with my favourite perfume purchase of the year, and this is very much a summer purchase, but I think it's my favourite. I've tried some really nice perfumes this year. This is from Jo Malone. This is the Beach Blossom, and if you love sweet summer fragrances that bring a bit of coconut and really make you feel like you're at the beach, but in a really, really classy, feeling fabulous way. It's not just like a cheap sunscreen sort of smell. This is a really gorgeous, elegant, beautiful finish, but you smell the sort of fruits and coconut vibes, and oh, it is absolutely sensational. Nothing screams holiday, being in the sun and feeling glamorous quite as much as this perfume. It is absolutely sensational. I love it. I hope it's still available because I know it was limited edition. I'm trying to be quite stingy with the amount I'm using because I want to really make this one last in case it doesn't come back, because I love it. But this one will be coming on holiday with me, absolutely, for my summer holiday. It has to. So there we go. That is the end of my 6-month review. I really hope you've enjoyed this. I would love to hear your thoughts on everything I've tried on today. And please do let me know what your favourites are, because I love to hear them. And I'm very much looking forward to doing my end of year. How am I going to, will any of these things be in my end of year review? Will they still be my number one when we get to December? I can't wait to find out. In fact, I'd quite like to compare my favourites from this year to last year, which maybe I'll do in another video. So many ideas, not enough days. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, I would love it ever so much if you did subscribe. But if you already are, thank you so much for being at the end of another one of my videos. I appreciate every single one of you, I really, really do. And I do hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care everybody, bye!